let's get started right into it. The Commanders beat the Bengals 38-33 on Monday Night Football. Cass, what were your thoughts?
I almost called this game. When I was doing my predictions, I said to myself, I was like, man, I just have a feeling that the Bengals may not be real. And I think that at the beginning of the season, I was, hyping up Joe Burrow before the season started, saying like, yo, this is for sure going to be a revenge tour all day. Going to, take the league by storm. Jamar Chase, he's showing up blonde hair. Jamar Chase cut the dreads off, cut the braids off. I'm like, all right, I see it. I know it's about to happen. Y'all thought we forgot about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and they're gonna shake some shit. Well, I also said at the same time that the Commanders, before the season started, I'm like, they made some good moves. If you look at their roster on paper, it's not a bad roster. They're only missing a quarterback. And the addition of Austin Eckler, which has turned out tremendous for them. I mean, he balled out too this last game. I unfortunately took the Bengals to win, but trust me, I was very much so back and forth. I'm like, this could go either way. And I was kind of low-key hoping that the Bengals would win just for, NFC East purposes, even though I'm not scared of the Commanders. But I was like, if they don't win and the Commanders actually take them out, I'm like, I got Jayden Daniels being my front runner for, Rookie of the Year. And I said that, I think, a couple weeks back. I'm like, this guy's going to be a candidate for sure. And after tonight, he's for sure the leader, without a doubt. So I'm excited to see some good football come out of more than just the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East. And I'm kind of low-key digging the fact that, they're handling some good teams out there. They're gonna make it very difficult for a lot of teams that should be doing really well to win against them. So I mean, they got the Cardinals next week or this coming week, and they're coming to that game 5-point underdogs. I'm like, I don't really see it. So good game by the Commanders. I don't really consider them a super rival of us, but they are in the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? I hate the Cowboys. I don't really care for the Giants, and the Commanders haven't been a problem for how long, so it's whatever. But it's hard to not root for Jayden Daniels. Just like there's a lot of guys out there, part of the NFC East, and part of the NFC saying it's hard not to root for Jalen Hurts. It's hard not to root for Jayden Daniels. So good game by the Commanders.
Yes, Toddy. And for the first comment of the day from my father, Smug, Bengals are in trouble. So, Toddy, are the Bengals in trouble? I have a fun fact for you. They are 0-3 now, as we all know. Since 2000, excuse me, I have the wrong day. Let me go ahead and give it to you right. So, they are 0-3 in the past 20 years. There's been 120 teams to go 0-3 and not make the playoffs. There has been one team, and it was a 2018 Houston Texans. Is this going to be a Bengals turnaround from 0-3 to the playoffs?
I think this Bengals team is definitely in trouble. I think they have a lot of losses on the defensive side of the football. Obviously, they still have Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, who's on my fantasy team. I feel like their offense is really potent. It seemed like Jamar Chase did whatever he wanted to do. Joe Burrow, I don't believe he turned the ball over yesterday. So it's not the offense fault. Defensive side of the football has to be better. The Commanders, I mean, I did say it on our prediction show before the season started. Got the Commanders going to the playoffs. I have them in second in the NFC East. I have them splitting with mainly everybody in their division for most games. That includes the Philadelphia Eagles. So, as Kaz already mentioned, not worried about the Commanders. I would double take on these guys down in DC. But I mean, the Bengals, it's going to be hard to kind of climb back into the AFC picture, playoff picture, because they're already behind so much. I mean, good hell, the Steelers are 3-0, and they're leading the division. The Ravens obviously had a slow start, but they're still 1-2. So everybody, and the Browns are just, I don't know what the Browns are, but the Browns play the Bengals usually really well every time they play against each other. But I mean, it's going to be tough because you're kind of look at the AFC picture. It's all right, there's the Chiefs, there's the Bills. Houston's probably going to be really good. The Jets are another surprise team. The Steelers are 3-0. It's just you're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. It's the Bengals are already behind the 8 ball. So it's And Kev already kind of gave you the stats on, 0-3 teams that make the playoffs. It's very tough to make the playoffs starting 0-3. And, we always go back to the quote that Joe Burrow says, the Super Bowl window is however long I'm playing. It's not looking like a very good year. Kev's going to get on me for Zach Taylor being 0-3 and Nick Sirianni is 2-1. And he's going to say, he was 7th and the coaches voted him 7. He wasn't even on the list. What's wrong with this guy? Who made this list? Sirianni. Hey, makes people get fired for shit like this. And Sirianni's 2-1 and all this other stuff. So that's just something. That's what a normal Kevin conversation sounds like when he calls me throughout the day. But I mean, you can't start 0-3. Like these are like the Patriots. That's a team you're supposed to be. I feel like everybody, when we kind of broke down the Bengals schedule, Patriots are a team that's going to be picking in the top 5. They had no business winning that game. This game was the game they were 8.5-point favorites, which I thought was a little high. I did think the Commanders would cover the spread, but I mean, this is, young team. They got a young quarterback. You're at home. It's like these are games you're supposed to win. And I do want to point out Luke McCaffrey was second. Luke McCaffrey, guy that Kevin is not very high. He was second in receiving for the team. So he was doing that name, Kev. But I mean, I forgot who they lost to last week. I forgot who they played last week.
Wait, who you talking about? What
The
team?
Giants last week.
Oh, Washington?
No. The Bengals. Who'd they lose to last week?
The Patriots does first.
No.
I can look it
They
up.
played. Let's race. Who's got it first?
I mean, it's kind of just comes down to
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs.
That was the PI that wasn't called.
PI, yeah, they had a bad call. Shit kind of goes their way. But these are, at worst, they should be 2-1 right now. But I mean, you're on 3, and you are what your record says you are, as a lot of people kind of come out and say. And the Bengals are 0-3, and especially in that division, as I feel like a lot of people would say, it's a very, very tough division to play in. I mean, you got Lamar, you got, the Steelers. That defense is very, very tough. Very physical division is what it's really known for being. But the Browns are going to be the Browns. But, I mean, you got to start racking some wins up here. So, I mean, the Bengals definitely have to turn it up a notch. The defense has to get better. Because, I mean, the Commanders damn near came to your house, put up 40 points. 40 points. This is a rookie quarterback. This is his 3rd game ever in the NFL. And you gotta dig deep. I don't know if they make the play. It's going to be tough to make the playoffs. I don't know if I would cancel them out and say, hey, if they're not going to make it, they're cooked. Now, if we go into next week and they lose next week 0-4, you're donezo. Dunzini. So, Bengals, they definitely have to kind of dig deep, figure out. There definitely has to be some adjustments made. And I feel like the offense is fine. It's more so on the defensive side of the football. So, Commanders, be on the lookout for them.
Bengals' next 2 games are Browns and Eagles.
All right.
So they beat the Browns.
They're desperate. They need wins.
And that's crazy. Those are 2 must-win games too for them. Let's just call it what it is. That's not a good spot to be in.
So Toddy came in here.
Play the Browns stuff.
So Cass said we didn't have to worry about the Commanders, and Toddy said I have to second that. A couple seconds ago, Toddy said you are what your record says you are.
Cool.
So they beat the Giants. We think the Giants are good, and they beat an 0-3 Bengals team. They beat an 0-3 Bengals team.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Let's see who the Giants have beaten.
The
Browns.
Did you just say you don't know if the Giants are good?
I don't know.
Oh my God, bro! Come on, please, man.
The Giants are not good, but
bro,
I second what Cass said.
Malik Neighbors is great.
There you go.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is great, and that's about it. So, are we worried about Washington? No. Have they shown a lot? Yeah. I saw 2 games of no Terry McLaurin. Then it's a Luke McCaffrey and, Toddy, can you name me another receiver on that team? Because I've been seeing a lot of Zach Ertz.
Yeah, Zach Ertz, Luke McCaffrey.
I said him. So I got Terry.
Terry McLaurin.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they got guys. Austin Eckler gonna be out there.
I'm just saying, Toddy. This is the Philadelphia Eagles here. They're not
better.
You're not saying the Commanders are better than the Saints, are you?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just saying you are what your record says you are.
The 2-1. They got a better record than us. God damn.
Yeah, that we'll get to that later, but it was great to see him get Terry McLaurin involved. Like I mentioned before the game, they asked him, what's going on? You're not getting numbers. What are you telling people? And he's like, you know what? I don't want to be a diva. This is my rookie's quarterback, 3rd game in the NFL. If me coming in here being a diva is going to do anything, it's going to do nothing but deter him. All I want to do is win games, and that's what you need in that locker room. Because on that 3rd down, 0 blitz, what did Terry McLaurin tell him in the huddle? Trust me, he ain't look nowhere else. He said, "Hi, he's coming." Touchdown. If they can get that going, Terry McLaurin has gone through a number of quarterbacks. We're not even going to get into it, but I'll just date how long Terry McLaurin's been. He was with the "You Like That." That's how long Terry McLaurin has been dealing with shitty quarterback play in Washington. Jayden Daniels is coming in here and changing the dynamic of this team. We saw it with RG3 for a little bit, and besides there, it's just been a lot of hit and miss. But now I think they have their quarterback, and I think we're watching a replay of last year when the 2nd quarterback taken, like Kat says, walks away with the Rookie of the Year. Let's just compare the generational quarterback, the Heisman winner, the #1 overall pick. 697 yards, 59% completion, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks. His team is 1-2. Should be 0-3 if it wasn't for Will Levis mayonnaise, but you know what? It is what it is. Jayden Daniels stats: 835 yards, 80% completion, 5 total touchdowns, 0 picks, leading his team to a 2-1 overall record. You are what your record says you are, Toddy, right? That's all I'm saying. Your boy's struggling over there, but we're going to get into that later, and you already know I'm going to pick you to talk about that game, so I hope you're ready for it. So moving on.